Will I ever change the name of the podcast? Why would I change the name of the podcast, Drew? Well, what's wrong with the Level 1 podcast? Don't you like that name? I think it's a great name. It's become synonymous with me and my content. It's a great, catchy name. Everyone knows it. What's wrong with that name? Exactly. I'm at a loss. Why do I need to rebrand? Exactly.
To those who are new in the snortex, first off, hey, how you doing? And secondly, this may seem like a bit of an odd question, and for any other streamer, it probably would be a random one to be sure, but for DSP, it's probably not. As you all probably know, this whole thing started when Phil was beefing with Keemstar back and forth on Twitter of all fucking places, upon which Keem eventually went on a 6-minute monologue over DSP's misgivings and general bullshittery. We're going to show you here a bit of that clip, and if you haven't already, I strongly suggest you go watch the full version, because this is just one of those epic moments where someone accurately describes Phil and just, man, he just fucking, he pummels him into the ground, dude. We'll leave the link in the description, so go check it out.
And then there's DSP. DSP has been begging fucking the 200 people that show up to his stream to pay all of his bills. Instead of getting a job, he goes to the stream and says, hey guys, my taxes are up. Hey, I got to pay my gardener. Hey guys. And then he'll blow the little money he gets from his fans on like skins in a video game. And then hit up his audience and be like, hey guys, I forgot about rent. I'm going to need a donation. All right.
Those 6 minutes of Keem ranting did more damage than DSP's ego than what most detractors ever will do. And it's because Phil knows deep down that he had the world on a string years ago, man. Now he's just relegated to watching from the sidelines while younger and better YouTubers make it rich. In fact, he was so butt devastated that he even named his podcast after Keem's rant. You know, the Level 1 podcast. The interesting part of this is that of all the things he could own up to and use in his favor, he chooses this stupid fucking rant. Remember how we said in the previous video that part of DSP rebuilding his own image would be just to, you know, own up to these mistakes and spinning them in his favor? Well, this is one of the times where he actually did it, and I personally thought it was kind of brilliant. But my excitement goes away immediately when I realize I'm actually thinking that DSP did something that was pretty based. Be right back. I need to wipe my goddamn cogitators now.
Such heresy has no place in these hallowed halls, Lex Mechanic. Anyway, this is yet another instance of DSP being so creatively bankrupt that he has to steal material from people he doesn't even like. Remember the T-posing saga? Remember the lean-in manual band saga? I'm sure most of us who have been around for a while can name many more. Previously, it was just a pre-stream podcast, and I don't think he ever officially named it that, but we all refer to it as that. Now, he's adopted the name Level 1 Podcast, which is problematic for a few reasons. First off, DSP doesn't even understand what Keem meant when he said he's still on Level 1. I don't like Keem. I think he's a massive cunt and his beard disgusts me. Regardless, I can admit when someone's right. DSP and Keem started off around the same time, and where are they now? Keem's running a business and DSP simply can't run. Secondly, he's not sticking it to the haters like he thinks he is. That title is always going to be connected to Keem, and specifically that rant. He's just associating himself with something negative. In fact, the podcast itself is negative since it's always whining, bitching, or begging. Lastly, it's not even a fucking podcast. Words have definitions, Philip. Learn them.
When will we be level 2? To 672. Why do we ever need to be level 2?
You insufferable fucking jackass. What is actually wrong with you? When people start something and actually invest time into it, they typically go in with the intention of improving, getting better at it, or in general, moving beyond square one. No one gets a job at McDonald's as a 16-year-old flipping fries and says, yeah, this is fine, I'll do this until I retire. Absolutely fucking no one. Except DSP, sitting on his fat ass in a spare bedroom with no friends, no business associates, no future plans or goals, begging fucking Derek for quarters so he can take his sea cow wife out to Arby's? Yeah, this is fine. I'll do this until I retire. Fucking pathetic.
Is that not the point that I've been making all along? That there's different levels of success that you can have in life, and those people out there that have insane amounts of views, insane amounts of popularity, insane amounts of money, they can be up there where they are. I don't care. I'm happy being down here, normal person on level 1 like you. I don't need to be some sky-high fucking celebrity to be happy and successful in my life. Right now, I am happy.
There's a movie I watched a while ago. It was titled I'm Thinking of Ending Things, directed by Charlie Kaufman. I thought it was pretentious as fuck, but apparently that was the point of the movie, and that's how this director rolls. It's on Netflix, go watch it. In any case, one thing stuck out to me the most: how our exposure to media, art, and memes and books and whatever else we consume can shape our perspective on things and how we view reality. The only reason this stuck out to me just now is because while I can sympathize with some of DSP's views and can see where he's coming from with this level 1 shit, this is stuff you see in movies or fairy tales. I mean, you know the ones where the protag is down on their luck and then they find out that the true self-worth was the friends they made along the way and that they don't need castles or material things to be happy. I think this is precisely what DSP is trying to recreate here. What he doesn't know is that people in real life don't usually act like this. People are envious, they're greedy and intolerant, and they are also good and proactive, hopeful, and so many other things. If someone is desperately trying to show only their positive side while minimizing their negative traits as much as DSP does, I mean, it just sets off some alarm bells in my mind that I'm dealing with a fake-ass motherfucker, which really shouldn't come as a surprise when we are talking about DarkSydePhil. There's nothing wrong with being happy with what you have. However, when you use this comfort zone as an excuse to not grow, to not innovate, to not improve your business or offerings, then it's whatever. However, if you also use this comfort zone as an excuse while also complaining about how people are brain dead morons that prop up other creators while you're stuck begging for tips, that's kinda where I draw the line, and DSP is infamous for pulling shit like this all the time, man.
What's even more egregious is when he said, "I'm happy being a normal person down here on level 1. Like you. Phil is not the average person. I mean, in terms of looks and health, he probably is, since you fucking Americans are lazy as shit. Regardless of that, how many people have the luxury of only leaving their house 1 day a week? How many people can sit on their ass playing games all day and get enough money to pay their bills? How many people are privileged enough to not innovate or improve at all and still somehow make it? The answer to all these questions is not many. DSP is not the normal person. That much is obvious. However, when he says, "like you," I can only see this as some weird manner of projection. DSP is making 6 figures. How many of us are making that much? You know what? Fuck this. I'm done with this shit. It's not enough for him to be a fake fan of everything aside from Street Fighter, but now he's a fake fan of being an average person. God damn it, man.
I mean, is this really what a happy person looks like? The constant begging, the whining over tips, the whining over chargebacks, the bitching at his fans whenever they partake in wrongthink or speak up against his opinions, the banning and public shaming of detractors who in most cases simply a comment on what he does on a daily basis. Do all these things express happiness? It's difficult to say with DSP, really. But in any case, that whole anecdote of the movie was just to illustrate the fact that DSP is so out of touch with reality that he acts as if he were in his own show, suffering from main character syndrome. The problem is that the show is a comedy and the jokes are always at his unknowing expense.
A common saying when criticizing visual media is, "show, don't tell." You shouldn't need long exposition to convey meaning to an audience. They should be able to decipher it from the context and the narrative. DSP is somehow the embodiment of this. He keeps saying he's happy but acts like a miserable, lonely cunt. He said it himself in the past. The stream is his only real connection to society.
So why would I need to pass level 1 when level 1 is great? Right? Not everyone in life is obsessed with becoming viral or growing to be celebrity status, or, you know, normal people don't need that.
Need what? A goal-oriented attitude focused on trying to do a little bit better every day? I know he's talking about YouTube here specifically, but I think that given his track record, this could be a mantra that he applies to many areas of his life. God, this makes me angry. Why clean my garage when those roaches aren't bugging anyone? Why take out the trash on the right day when you could just leave it there for another week? Why fix the spare bathroom if we don't get any visitors anyway? Why support my ex-girlfriend when she needed me if we're not a couple anymore and they could have just given her a pill and dumping her anywhere? I mean, the list really goes on with this guy. Regardless, I don't know about you, but when I hear someone talk about a celebrity, I don't think about Nile Red or Vsauce or Kriskasok, or all of which are pretty popular channels with millions of subs. In fact, the smaller one here is Nile, who has around 6 million subs, while the other two have over 20 million each. You know what it's like to have 20 million subscribers? I definitely don't, and neither does DSP. Hell, most Hollywood celebrities don't even have that number of followers on Twitter. Do you need that amount of followers? That amount of subs? I mean, probably not, but because you don't need to be at that status doesn't mean you can't actively work to better yourself and improve your offerings. Most of the people that hit it big don't even worry about tips for taxes or whatnot. They simply do what they're passionate about and the rest comes on its own. And I know this is kind of disingenuous of me to say, especially since for every Vsauce there are probably thousands of other channels that simply don't take off by no particular fault of their creator. But this is how these things work sometimes, man.
To continue with that train of thought, DSP is doing what we call black and white thinking. He seems to think it's either his status, 250k or so subs, most of which are dead accounts from like 10 years ago, or viral popularity with a household name and fuck you money. He doesn't seem to grasp that there's a, what do you call those things? An in-between. There are degrees of success. DSP's success is winning by default at this point. He's been around long enough to obtain a modicum of infamy, and that's what's fueling his success. Well, we are too, to an extent, but that's beside the point. This is the major issue. You're either a saint like him or the devil himself like Keem. You're either a supporter or a detractor. You either want him to succeed or you want to put a hit on Jasper Kitty. His black and white thinking, along with his myriad of other issues, are what doomed him to be a walking joke on the internet.
In any case, if you start any endeavor, whether it's YouTube, a personal hobby, a game, or whatever the fuck else, and if you don't have the mentality to grow and be better at what you do, then what's the point? And it's funny because this is exactly like DSP's, and since he just drunkenly drags himself onto his office chair on a daily basis. He slumps his ass on his chair and simply expects everyone to sustain his debauchery and, frankly, quite unwholesome lifestyle. Oof, I get the feeling this video is gonna get quite personal and I'll be interrupting him a lot, but I'll let him speak for now.
Normal people are happy to just exist and have some positivity and share that positivity with others and have a good life for themselves.
Normal people have friends, hobbies, and a life. What's your excuse, Dave? Oh right, you're too busy screaming at the TV and calling everyone a scrubby loser. Oh god damn it, now I'm interrupting him a lot. Ugh.
I don't need ginormous viral success. I don't want it. I never wanted it. When I started on YouTube in 2008, it was a hobby and I never thought it would ever blow up. When I started to become popular, I was like, all right, I'm happy where I am. I'm not going to change and sell out and become this fake person, which is what everyone wants me to be, in order to get the bag and make money and whatever. I'm just going to be myself and be true to myself and see what happens. And now here we are.
Why yes, here we are. The funny thing about this comment is how DSP never actually sold out, except he did a few times, but let's say he didn't. And he was always true to himself and never changed to appease anyone, except he totally did because his petty attitude and racy commentary back then lost him important contracts with Blick TV, but let's pretend he didn't. Despite all of this, DSP was still being his true self. The problem is that the true DSP is basically just as bad as most detractors paint him out to be. For the longest time, I was suspicious that DSP was just a character that he was very fervently playing. However, after many scandals and drama, I realized DSP isn't a fake person. However, the real DSP is the one who shouts at his viewers. He constantly bans them just for disagreeing and outright insults people when they call him out during gameplay, especially during Friday night fights where the salt is always flowing. And he's just belligerent, opinionated, and insufferable. And again, with so much denial of his greed, of his bad side, of his I need that money, and instead focusing on never wanting to be popular and reiterating the fact that he's fine on level 1 and doesn't want to progress. Who is he trying to fool here? I mean, why you lying? Why you lying, man? I'm not falling for it, to be honest.
Why the fuck you lying? Why you always lying? Oh my god. Stop fucking lying. Always lying to me. You lying so much. You making it hard for me. Yeah.
I think he's being honest here, actually. I think he did see the literal fuck you money rolling in and think, I'm happy with where I am. The issue is his parents, and no, I'm not going to be nice about this. His parents should have beat his fucking ass as a kid and actually taught him some life lessons. He has the financial responsibility of a child. He saw the money rolling in and didn't think to invest or reinvest it, didn't think to save it, he just immediately spent it. The collectibles, the car, the move, the house, all needless expenses that he could have, should have, saved or done something smart with. He also, apparently, didn't have the foresight to think, maybe this isn't the most stable source of income, and do something about it. Something like business partnerships? I don't know, dude. Apparently this guy has a degree, so he's the professional. Also, just like our newly purified Lex Mechanic pointed out, DSP has changed. Remember when he didn't want to do direct capture because playing a game is a dude on the couch or some shit? Remember when he didn't want to play certain games because they're for kids? Remember when he said he wouldn't interrupt gameplay to give shoutouts? I could go on, but you get the point. The amount of hypocrisy this guy puts out on a daily basis should be illegal. Being this fucking dumb should also be illegal.
Some almost 16 years later, and I am where I am, and I'm still able to do this for a living, and I'm still happy, and I have a great family, and I have a great hangout session with you guys every day. And I have no problems with that whatsoever. So why do I need to be above level 1, right? Remember?
No commentary here. Nope. Just us tech priests hanging out, listening to meaningful, honest, and robust DSP totally not coping about his life.
I wish I was back on my Forge world taking a fat tech priest shit.
That's what Keemstar said. That's where the name came from. That I'm forever stuck on level 1. I like level 1. A lot of people like level 1. We don't all have to be big egomaniacs trying to be the absolute best person on earth. We're not all at cutthroat competition with each other. Some of us are just happy to be good people and share those great positive experiences with others and just say, leave me alone.
It doesn't get much better than someone who constantly tries to hide his bad side and inflate his ego and positive traits, saying that he doesn't need to be an egomaniac. The joke basically writes itself. I mean, but it's just funny to me how this absolute dent lord assumes that if you want to be better than where you currently are, it means that you're a try-hard, cutthroat, sweaty, looking to min-max his life instead of just taking it easy and chilling at the bottom with the rest of us.
To be fair, people do this with gamers too. I always thought I was just optimizing my rotation so I can be a better member of the party. Apparently I was being a tryhard. Who knew?
Just like you can generalize and say a lot of people like level 1, I can also say that a lot of us like self-improvement and growth in certain areas of our lives. A lot of us can also admit that we're not where we want to be currently and constantly work towards the life we want to have. I was raised on this sentiment, and I feel most of my peers and people I grew up with and the folks I hang out with most days also have it. Does that make us egomaniacs? Shit, I don't know. According to DSP it might, but I'd rather try to be better and fail and get frustrated and keep trying before I fall into the deepest recesses of the mediocrity that DSP calls his home.
Bit personal here, but I cannot understand Phil's mentality on this. As it was pointed out earlier, what's the point of doing something if you're not improving? With games, specifically, you'll naturally improve by just playing the game, usually. As an example, I'm constantly iterating on design blueprints in Factorio. I try to go with different cell sizes in my city block design just to see what works where. If it doesn't work, then I refactor it. I can't imagine playing Factorio multiple times with the same blueprint book and not doing anything different. That's what Phil's doing, the same thing over and over and over and expecting it to work. This is the definition of insanity, especially when you see his gradual decline since his undeserved fame 1,000 years ago.
Also, what positive moments, motherfucker? What positive moments have you had in recent memory? What is this positivity you speak of? Seriously, where is it? I'm not seeing it. All you bring is misery and negativity to your life and the lives of the people unfortunate enough to watch you. I mean, well, I guess you do bring positivity to your dents and whales, but that's only positivity in the way that someone capitalizes on rampant mental illness to part people from their hard-earned disability checks.
Are you okay?
But that's what some people don't get who are egomaniacs. They just think, I've got to be the best. I got to be the best. Better than everyone. You know?
But what's wrong with wanting to be the best? What's wrong with wanting to improve? What's wrong with any of these sentiments? I mean, as long as you're not an asshole about it, self-improvement is fulfilling. It keeps you focused. It gives you a life goal. Hell, I don't plan on having kids ever, so that means my life will probably be rife with midlife crises in a few years, considering that I won't have a burden to maintain for a couple decades, which is what usually keeps people pretty busy in this part of their lives. This just means I'm just also gonna have a shit ton of free time to do whatever I want, which is awesome, but also daunting at times. I mean, hell, DSP is going through the same shit. He's a person in his 40s that doesn't have kids and probably will never have, and only spends his time playing games and bitching over detractors and tips. This is when I ask myself if this is what I see myself doing in the next 5 or 10 years, and run headfirst into the wall of reality that this shit isn't sustainable. I mean, I guess it is. If you're mediocre and miserable enough, that is. Luckily, there are plenty of options out there, hobbies to keep my mind focused and my body in motion, but what would be the point of going into any of these hobbies with a mindset that I don't want to learn or improve? I don't know, this just boggles the mind, man.
It boggles my cogitators as well. Speaking of wanting to be the best, that's actually how Lex Mechanic Wirch and I met. I, unfortunately, was big on the raiding scene in Final Fantasy XIV. I was a black mage who wanted to be the best. I joined parse runs, even on my healer alt, and tried to do my best. I have orange parses from multiple expansions ago that I still reminisce on. I never would have made the amazing friends I have now if I didn't have that mentality. I never would have obtained these achievements. Lastly, I never would have made those memories. Ah, yes. I remember what it was like, sitting in voice chat at 11 p.m., half drunk with my raid group, most of which were also half drunk, laughing hysterically at somebody's name. God damn it, Felonious.
Oh, fuck. God, it's only been 3 minutes and I'm already 5 pages into this script. Omniscience, save me.
Actually, we're up to page 7 with my additions. Remember Aphorisms 62. Do not ask the Omnissiah for a pleasant existence. Ask him for the strength to overcome our tribulations.
I literally just explained that, Maximum Turbo. You didn't hear it? So, a year or two ago, Keemstar was insulting me publicly on his Twitter account. And he did this big rant video about me, right? And in it, he said that DSP will always be stuck on level 1. You know, everyone else surpassed him. He's a loser because he's stuck on level 1. To which I responded, what's wrong with level 1? It's a nice place to be. To have a small, dedicated following of people who like who I am and what I do, to be able to do my own thing and not have to abide by anyone else's rules or answer to anyone else because I don't have sponsors or partners or have to worry about, oh, I'll piss someone off and lose a big revenue stream or something like that, right?
Is this bitch serious? Failing to abide by the rules is what has gotten you kicked from everywhere except YouTube, and I have a strong suspicion that you'll even get booted from there more sooner than later. If you didn't have to abide by the rules, then why do you complain about people being woke and canceling creators, all for the stuff they said ages ago? And I thought the no sponsors thing was because of the trolls and not because you didn't actually want them. And what do you mean that you don't have to worry about losing big revenue streams? Oh my fucking god, then what do you call getting kicked out of Blip TV, getting kicked out of Twitch, losing the machinima contract, fighting for fucking bankruptcy, getting scammed by bogus sponsors in the past? Does that ring a bell? It sounds like you have plenty to worry about, to be honest, and while some of your misfortunes definitely have been due to people's ill intentions towards you, most of your hardships are self-inflicted, man. I said it in the past and I'm saying it again. You reap what you sow, my friend.
That last part confuses me. I'll piss someone off and lose a big revenue stream? My god, you've already changed who you are just to fit into the current social climate. You stop saying, oh my god, I want to model both those tits constantly because that shit's just not cool anymore. You've already neutered yourself to the point where you have no original takes on anything and have no opinion on anything unless it's food. What's the difference between that and having to curb your unbridled rage on stream to have a steady, stable source of income? People do this at work too. I am a highly offensive person when I'm at home, but I have to put on a filter at work. Everyone does it for the most part. Why is this a bad thing? Also, kinda sounds like he just admitted he has a small, dedicated following of whales. I don't understand how else you'd expect to get $300 a day from a small and dedicated group unless they're whales.
And the fact that I can have this positive, intimate relationships with you guys every day, we can talk like this, right?
If you touch me, this last pistol will be the last thing you ever see.
If I were bigger, we wouldn't be able to do that. And the fact that I've been running for 16 years and I'm still able to make a living, right? But that's what some people just don't understand that. They think, well, that's failure. That's failure? Why exactly is that failure? Explain. Oh, well, you could have been way bigger. If you had ridden the trends and did all the viral things, the thumbnails, the clickbait titles, the drama content, and all of that, you would have been much bigger.
You mean the things DSP is doing now after the trends lost their initial appeal and are starting to slowly plateau and fall off? I mean, let's just see here. After a long time refusing to do it, DSP is currently, he's playing viral games for views and money, but he disguises this as doing it because his fans beg him to play the games. He's also doing react content where he watches other creators' videos and gives commentary on them. He is no longer a one-man army since he has unpaid collaborators doing his thumbnails, uploads, the timestamps, and other things. He will never say that he has a crew, but there they are, and unpaid as they are. He is also indulging in the drama by going to interviews and even considered doing a documentary of his life. I mean, yeah, if you had done these things before, you'd probably be much bigger, but that's neither here nor there. After all, you're just fine on level 1, right?
Why is that failure? Here's a better question. What could you possibly define as success if your threshold for failure is that low? I'm going to be pretty generous here and say that at one point, DSP did make it. He had the popularity, he had the money, he had the friends, he had the girl, he was even going out to speak at conventions and participate in tournaments and shit. He made it, but where is he now? He's a social shut-in who only leaves the house for the mandatory grocery run. He has no friends, real life or online. He has no hobbies. And the smoking hot girl, Pandally, please call me girl, I'll treat you right, got replaced by a fat Asian kid. Oh, there's a fucking cat there. Is this success? If it is, then it's impossible to fail.
I don't care. I don't want to be bigger. I really have no intention of being bigger. I like where I am. I like who I am. I like that I never had to change to get ahead, and I never stepped on people to get where I am. So, basically, I'm the anti-Keemstar, and I'm very happy with that.
Really, bitch? You haven't stepped on anyone to get here? Well, first and foremost, stepping on people to get anywhere implies that you've been using them as a ladder to go up, improve, and as we all know, your life has just gone the opposite way ever since you moved to Washington. Secondly, to have someone step on to get ahead, you first need to actually interact with others and have relationships with other peoples and creators, which you haven't had in years. And third, we will never forget what would happen between you, John Rambo, Howard, and Respect the Pact. And while it might be true that Project 7 was basically only a drop in the vast oceans of DSP failures, you definitely did these guys dirty, man. And I understand that this was years ago, but like I said in my previous video, you really haven't had much interactions and exposure to other people since then, so you can't possibly step on anyone to get a leg up. However, you have tried on occasions to do collaborations that would net you some good faith or credibility, and I'd give you props for that if you were any other person. And if only they hadn't ended in disaster and or disappointment every single time.
I'll never forget top tier Brian's response to DSP taking $2 grand to show off a fucking cat. He just had that "I'm done with this guy" tone in his voice and laughed it away. Hilarious. Also, it's not quite right to call Phil the anti-Keemstar. I'd say he's the opposite of Keem in just about every way. Keem is, as far as I know, physically fit and active. He's financially well off, he's reinvested in himself and his business. I know nothing of his love life, but I can assume he can get it when he wants it. So yeah, the total opposite. This is why we call Keem a success story and you, well, yeah, you get the point. Lastly, you may not have stepped on anyone to get here, but you did slander a lot of people. This is one of the many reasons why no one wants anything to do with your ass.
That's where I got the name from. He used it as an insult. I used it as a badge of honor. I'm happy to be at level 1 and still successful. Thank you for telling me that. And now I will proudly display that every day when I start up my stream.
No. He used it as a descriptor. It's a term that encompasses the many elements that compose your level of failure. You took it because you're a creatively bankrupt, shameless swine. Same way you took various other memes and phrases from detractors, people you openly despise. You're not owning anyone, and Keem's rant is still directly tied to the name you proudly display on your stream. If anything, you're just giving him more exposure, but I wouldn't expect you to have that level of self-awareness. Just like I don't expect you to have the self-awareness to realize that expecting people to give you hundreds of dollars per day just for the simple act of pressing start record in OBS is unrealistic.
Anyway, this video goes on for a bit longer, but I really just wanted to cover the Keem and level 1 bullshit. This was, if anything, a good pignosis session that hopefully we managed to dispel with our commentary, but feel free to stick around for the next one.
Yes, hello, Engine Seer Daikun here. I know this video may be a bit old. I think we've been sitting on this for about 2 weeks, but we both kind of went on vacation and then one of us had a breakdown, so shit happens. But yeah, we'll try not to let that happen again. Anyway.
A huge shout out to Snort Hogan for the clip, and big ups to all the other detractors out there that are fighting the good fight. Feel free to press buttons if you like our video, and we'll see you on the next one. Alright, okay, thanks, bye.